Installing rock treads on removable soled wading boots is not difficult, but does require a few specific tools and some care. Let's get started. Prior to installing rock treads, make sure your removable soles are dry and relatively free of dirt, both top and bottom. It's a really good idea to lay out the pattern you want for your rock treads prior to any drilling. On removable soles, this is best done on the hard plastic, non-tread side, so as not to interfere with any clips, sliding locks, or ridges. It's also important to remember that you need to cover two removable soles with the rock treads provided. You may find it helpful to separate the discs into equal stacks prior to laying out a pattern. Various rock tread patterns can be found on our website, and you can duplicate them if you like, or find a combination of several that work for you, depending on where you'll be wading and the sole type you have. Pretty much, no matter what arrangement you choose, the rock treads will greatly improve traction while wading. There's also nothing that says you have to use all the discs. Although they're fairly light, unnecessary weight is just that. Don't get too close to the edges of your removable soles, as you don't want any rock treads hanging off the edge. Also, with Korkers, avoid the raised rib plastic areas when placing your discs, as these will prevent the lockdown nuts from sitting flush against the hard plastic. For Hodgman H-Lock boots, avoid the track or slide areas for the same reason. When you have the rock treads placed to your satisfaction on one removable sole, produce the mirror image of the first sole on the second. If necessary, you can rearrange both yet again to match. A grease pencil of a contrasting color works well for marking where holes are to be drilled. Once you have the locations marked for each disc on both soles, remove the discs, but lay them out roughly in the same pattern as you had on the removable soles to help you keep track of the locations. We're going to do only one sole at a time. This will include drilling and a temporary test fit of components. Locate the 1/4-inch drill bit in the hardware bag and secure it tightly in the chuck of an electric drill. Cordless drills really make things easy. Lay one of the soles flat on a scrap piece of wood. A foot-long segment of 2x4 works well. Hold the sole firmly against the wood. When you're drilling, try to keep the bit perpendicular to the sole, not at an off angle. Once you feel the drill bit fully penetrate the sole and go into the scrap piece of wood, work it around just a little to make sure the hole through the sole is clean. Now that you have a feel for the drilling process, go ahead and drill the remaining holes on the first removable sole. The next step is to do a temporary install on this one sole to make sure that everything's going well. Insert a lockdown nut through the boot side of each of the holes until the wide flat part is flush. Make sure you've filled all the holes with lockdown nuts. Place one of the screws through the appropriate rock tread so its head fits neatly in the countersink, and screw it into the correct lockdown nut. Don't screw it in all the way. The red band on the screw is a thread lock, and we don't want to affix the rock treads permanently just yet. Continue this process with the remainder of the rock treads on the sole. Make sure their arrangement is consistent with the layout plan. At this point, we highly recommend test fitting the removable sole to its boot to ensure there are no obstructions and that the sole secures to the boot in the appropriate manner. Although not essential, we also recommend a complete temporary fit of all hardware on both removable soles just to make sure everything is even and done correctly. Double and triple check to confirm that the rock treads are properly placed in the correct position. With the screws partially screwed in, your rock treads will still be fairly loose. Now, it's time to permanently affix them to the bottom of the soles. Screw each screw into the lockdown nut until the rock tread disc is tight against the sole. You may need to press hard against the lockdown nut while doing this to prevent it from spinning. It's okay, and in fact desirable, if the felt or rubber tread is slightly compressed. check to make sure that the tip end of the screw doesn't protrude above the lockdown nut on the back of the sole. Do this one screw at a time until all the rock treads on both soles are firmly anchored. As a reminder, the screws in this kit are dipped in an acrylic thread locker that will lock the screws into place after they've been tightened down. If you're a large person or often wade in extreme conditions, it's a good idea to further lock the screws into place. This can be done by first snipping or cutting the tip off the red Turbo Lock permanent thread locker and applying a small amount to the tip of each screw visible in the lockdown nuts. Allow the thread locker on the screw threads and the red Turbo Lock to set for a full 24 hours before use. After that time, check to make sure that none of the rock treads spin, even with a good bit of force. With everything set, reinstall your removable soles on the wading boots and you're ready to go. Your new rock treads will provide you with years of comfortable, safe, and secure wading.